crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I'm here with another set of Valentine cards, this time for Create a Smile stamps because I'm part of their video design team, and so I'm going to be using the hexagon background stamps and the lovely critter stamp sets today. And again, I'm going to be creating these Valentines for the cards from the Heart card drive hosted by Winter Sims. I will leave a link in the video description. There are some rules which I'll talk about throughout the video because I do want to make sure that we're all aware of them so that we can participate according to the rules and guidelines of the hospitals where these cards will be going. So the cards do benefit kids who are in the hospital during Valentine's Day. It's also, they donated to some foster homes last year, and so the goal is really just to brighten the day of some kids who would be in less than ideal circumstances on Valentine's Day. And so I'm going to make a set of 7 cards today. I'm trying to simplify my cards a little bit so I can make a few extra, since you have to have all your cards sent in by the end of January. But also you want the cards to work for any age or gender, so I'm also trying to keep that in mind. And you can't have anything that can fall off or be pulled off the card to become a choking hazard, so it limits some embellishment choices. Like, I'm a huge fan of Create a Smile in enamel shapes, but I can't use them on these cards because of the guidelines from the hospital, so you won't see them here, although normally they are on like every Create a Smile card I make because I love them. So I am stamping the hexagon background stamp, and it occurred to me that, like, when you're stamping with a MISTI, where do you put the magnets if you want to stamp the background stamp? Because unless your paper is larger than the background stamp, which I'm going to assume usually it's not, you can't really put the magnets down because the stamp won't work. And there are solutions around that. It's not like you can't use the MISTI for it. So today, I'm not actually trying to get a perfect impression. I just was wondering how much easier it would be to stamp with my MISTI versus some of the other methods for stamping with background stamp, because obviously they don't fit on most stamp blocks. So anyway, the thought is you could use a piece of painter's tape and like roll it up and stick it on the back of your cardstock, and then you could use the MISTI and stamp it pretty regularly. However, I noticed that this background stamp was pretty sticky because this is brand new. And so I wonder, even with the painter's tape, if it would pull up, and if the card stock pulls up or shifts, it kind of ruins the function of the MISTI. The whole point is to have it in the same place. And so then I would suggest like lining up your cardstock perfectly with some of the lines in the bottom of the MISTI so that in case it does pull up, you could place it back more accurately. But I guess the MISTI might not be the most ideal for background stamps. I love my MISTI. Not trying to knock it, just saying that I did find that a little bit tricky. So if anyone has any tips or suggestions, like I said, you could do the roll-up tape on the back, but I'd still worry that the paper would lift up, that it wouldn't be sticky enough. So I wanted to show you the other way to do it. If you don't have a MISTI or you are worried about that, now this way you also can't restamp, so it has the same problems, but a different way to apply the ink on from a background stamp. Sorry. So what I like to do is ink up the background, put the cardstock down, and then run a brayer over it. You could put a napkin between like I do, and that's just to like kind of prevent the spread of ink. It's not that big a deal. I reuse that napkin a bunch too. But it just makes it a little bit easier. And here I'm thinking that my distress ink pad might have been a little bit dry because I wasn't getting my backgrounds as dark as I wanted them to be. So you could definitely just refill your ink pad. I don't think it had anything to do with the stamp or the paper or anything like that. And I'm just using solid cardstock with a coordinating color of distress ink. So I have a blue version of the card where the turtle will go, and a burgundy version of the card where the snail will go. And I'm using Aged Mahogany as my burgundy distress ink and Mermaid Lagoon as my blue distress ink. And I'm okay with those backgrounds being imperfect, as you might have noticed, because as kind of the look I was going for, since I use distress ink does not give like perfectly wonderful stamp impressions, but it does create a fun, simple background that allows me to create multiples for this card drive. So I am going to quickly show you my coloring in of the snail. I don't want to show you too much coloring because this video would get super long, and my last couple of Create a Smile videos have been super long. So I'm using my Ganzi Tamba. I'm saying that terribly wrong. Anyway, watercolors. And these are really bright compared to my kois. They're much more vivid and much more opaque, so I'm really enjoying them. I got them for Christmas, and I wasn't sure that I really needed another set of watercolors, but I heard so many people say that these were a lot more opaque and vibrant, and so I was really intrigued because I do love bright colors, and so I gave them a try, and I do find them to be quite different than the kois, and so I'm okay with having both, and I think I'll probably still use both. The kois are obviously much better for traveling around because they're in that little plastic sketch box, and they come with a water brush and all that, where the Ganzi Tambai are in a box, and the lid doesn't stay closed, and they don't have a water brush or anything like that, but they do have some really beautiful, bright, vivid colors. And so I'm just going to add a little bit of shadowing. Watercolor's nice because you can continue to layer it till you get the effect you want. You can add more water to pull the color back. It's a lot more forgiving than Copic markers and a lot more affordable. So I really do enjoy the fact that these are bright and vibrant like Copic markers. So I'm going to trim up these stamped backgrounds and put a piece of black cardstock behind it. And you're probably thinking, like, black isn't very Valentine-y. But I really like the way that bright colors pop off of a black background, so it kind of works for me. And again, I am trying to like make them for possibly any age, and so I think these ones, even though they have these like really super cutesy critters, might be a little bit better for like teenagers who don't necessarily want the super cutesy images as much. I don't know. I think it works, the black. But I'm going to trim these stamped panels to 3.5 by 4 3/4 to leave like a 1/2 inch, like the black is a 1/2 inch bigger and leaves a 1/4 inch border, if that makes sense, around the edge. And then I'm going to stamp the sentiment, and the sentiment's going to be the same for all of them. Heartfelt Wishes from the Lovely Critters stamp set, and I am going to use the Misty because I'm going to stamp in the same place each time, but I really think a stamp block would have probably been fine too, and probably just as quick. This is my new mini Misty, another Christmas present. And you notice I haven't put the tape on the magnets, and it's driving me nuts, and I want to. So if you don't have tape on your Misty magnets, I would consider that because it makes them so much easier to pick up. I never really realized it till I started using them without tape again, but it's a lot harder. You have to like slide the magnet all the way to the edge to get it off. So, I am now ready to add my critters. I want my turtles to look like they're swimming in that blue ocean that I created. But for the snail, you may have noticed that little snail has little antenna. And I am not fussy cutting out antenna. That is crazy. I am going to instead stamp the snail on the background, fussy cut out the rest of the snail, and then when I tape it on, the antenna will look like it's stamped there, but I didn't have to fussy cut it out. And so I think that saves a lot of time and still looks just as cute. So now you can see the little antenna appear to be on it, even though they're not. And I'm just going to place the snails exactly over where I stamped them. I've been using VersaFine ink this whole time. It's my favorite ink to use with watercolor because it's really, really crisp and vibrant. It's great for sentiments because, again, crisp, vibrant, clear images. And it is waterproof, where you can't use it with Copics, though. So I then have all my cards. I'm just going to stick them on white card bases, and that is it for my card today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and you can check out links in the video description for the card drive, for Create a Smile, because this stamp set is like the cutest Valentine stamp set ever. It's my favorite. And that is it. Thanks for watching. Bye!